Hi, David. I hope you are well. So, this week, Gringas, just preface warning. I was a Scottish immigrant, moved to Canada, had a thick Scottish accent, learned how to do a Canadian accent through the repeated, essentially bullying of both teachers and classmates who were constantly reminding me that I was not Canadian or did not fit in as Canadian or needed to learn how to be a better Canadian based off of my voice. And I'm going to tie that in directly, going right into it, because I think that's what this play, the idea of that at least, what it emphasizes. Immigrants are often expected to assimilate completely, whether people realize it or not, assimilate completely into the cultures that they move to. That is emphasized through multiple things like citizenship processes, where they have to memorize and internalize the ideals and histories of the cultures that they may not even care about. They may just want to escape a war. But essentially, immigrants are expected to not just move to a place, but become a piece of that place. And when they're coming from cultures or countries where that is already very prevalent, where their culture is a massive identifier of who they are, how they believe and act as a person, you can see the issues. This play beautifully references that idea. It examines themes of cultural identity and the forced assimilation that we expect of immigrants. Characters in Gringas struggle with their sense of belonging as they balance the desire to fit into this new culture that they have to, but also remember, believe in, identify with their heritage and culture that made them who they were, the countries that they believe and identify with beyond anything else. I think that this play explores the duality and the tension that this constant fight of, am I Canadian? Do I act like a Canadian? Or am I a Scotsman? Can I be a Scotsman in this situation? Or in this case, the many different Latina women and their experiences. It highlights the fact that when we accept the new parts of our culture, sometimes we make forced sacrifices to forget or abandon the older things. And I believe, and this kind of ties in with my question for her, but that this is an exploitation of the system, a forced assimilation to have citizens abandon uh, older ideals or experiences from the places they came from and their languages. And a moment that really did this for me was the fact that they switch so frequently from Spanish to English. I can't remember the monologue itself, but there's a specific monologue where the character is literally complaining and it's so frustrated with the fact that people make such severe assumptions about her and her life simply based off of her accent or her appearance. And in this monologue, she is consistently switching between English and Spanish, which is both a auditory and visual cue about that internal struggle. Literally, the English side of her and the Spanish side of her constantly fighting for self-expression, fitting in better, to survive, just the need to be oneself and the need to survive, constantly competing as the Spanish and English side, both auditorially and visually, I think is such a powerful dramaturgical tool to show something that so many immigrants can relate to, whether by the skin color, their food, their dress, the smells, their accent. We all make such severe sacrifices, sometimes knowingly, sometimes not, so that we are able to survive our daily lives without a preconceived context that every time someone meets us, they'll make a Shrek joke or they'll say some, insulting thing that I can't understand. These are experiences that real people go through. These are things that jokes that our friends and family and strangers may forget about that are funny for them, but that eat at and stay with immigrants as, is this something that people focus on, think about constantly? Is my accent something that people can't get past? Do I need to fix this to be able to better assimilate and survive? And the effects that coming to the terms that your voice isn't good enough, your culture wasn't good enough to fit in, the effects that that has on someone, the shame, the fear, the pain that that creates in individuals, and the constant conflict of switching between, is my experiences right or were they wrong? It's a really, really relatable topic, and I think that symbolizing the bilingual language as the divide is a really powerful tool, both through repetition, pulling in different senses in the audience, but just seeing the mistakes that North American citizens are able to get away with every day, and the continued effects that that may have on an immigrant's ability to feel they can express themselves. And in our culture right now, we're really seeing that North America, at the end of the day, doesn't want to accept other cultures and will far prefer that assimilation tactic in both America and Canada. And I think it really sends, like this play, the message that, we're not the land of the free. We're not this incredible. We, at the end of the day, are I want to say a business almost. We accept immigrants on the basis that they will help us, and when they can't, we stop. And I think that is something that needs to be examined and explored in our government practices, because it really shows our values as leaders. And that's where I'm going to stop it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.